Alright guys, so we are back to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake again, and because of the lack of information all the time, we are of course discussing rumors and leaks yet again. The first thing we're going to discuss is a supposed tweet that Square Enix sent out that revealed a Final Fantasy VII Remake Uncovered event and a date along with it, and then quickly deleted the tweet. Uncovered is something they did previously for Final Fantasy XV. It's pretty much an event held specifically for one game where they show a lot of things from the game and things related to the game. And it's been a kind of a rumor, I guess, or speculation for a while that they might do an Uncovered event for Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. And that something is potentially going to happen for this game sometime in April, which is just a couple months before E3. So right here we have the supposed tweet from Square Enix that reads, "A meteor approaches, uncover the new world of Final Fantasy VII Remake, coming first to PS4. And the image shows Uncovered Final Fantasy VII, April 3rd. Without even having to really break this down, clearly this is something that could easily be photoshopped, and it probably is. There's a few things wrong here. For one, people point out that the fonts are the exact same from this Uncovered event, supposedly Uncovered event, and the Final Fantasy XV Uncovered event. Now, I don't think that this necessarily proves that this is fake, because if Uncovered is something they plan on going forward with for all their Final Fantasy games, they'd probably just keep the same logo, kind of like E3's had the same logo for a long ass time, if not forever. So if the speculation were to be true that they wanted to do an Uncovered event for Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think it just makes sense that they would keep the same Uncovered logo. The other glaring issue is the fact that it's called Uncovered Final Fantasy VII when the game is called Final Fantasy VII Remake. That seems like a huge oversight on their part to not refer to the game by its actual title. But it's entirely possible that if they were to do an Uncovered event, it might just be called Uncovered Final Fantasy VII. Even if it is a remake, it's still Final Fantasy VII. You don't have to have remake with the name of the event, I suppose, but that seems very doubtful in my opinion. And the last thing that can dispute this, probably the most crucial piece of evidence, is the fact that on Twitter you can get notifications from people and accounts when they tweet, and not one person out there has got a notification of this tweet ever happening. And that's the biggest evidence for the fact that this is definitely a fake thing. It's photoshopped. So with that all being said, this is pretty much non-news and non-information, but we gotta talk about anything we can related to this game, and if there's any kind of fake leaks out there, anybody trying to build up false hype, we gotta shut that shit down as soon as we can. The other Final Fantasy channels are talking about this, and they're the ones like hyping it up in their titles, like all capital letters, new Final Fantasy VII Remake leak, oh my god, OMG, exclamation point. It's like, no, calm down. That's why in my title, there's gonna be quotations around the word leak or leaks. They'll use any opportunity they can to clickbait for this game because there's not really any information for this game out there. From here, we move on to a couple of images that an account tweeted out. The tweet has since been deleted, but they seem to believe that the images might belong to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Shout out really quickly to Metal Gear Ray for sending me these images. He's helped me multiple times with multiple Final Fantasy VII Remake related videos. Thanks, man. So right here is the first image. Whenever I first looked at this, without even really registering the image, knowing that it's potentially going to be something related to FF7, I initially thought that this building in the background was the Shinra building, but clearly this is nowhere near tall enough, and there's like another tall piece to the left of it, which isn't how the Shinra building is. The Shinra building's in the middle of Midgar, and it towers over everything. But if, say, this is something from FF7 Remake, this could just be a random set of buildings somewhere in the slums. Like, we're getting a more modernized version of Midgar when this game comes out. The PlayStation 1, we barely got to see anything. It didn't even feel like a real city at all, because it's very linear. It's an old game. The sign, poster, billboard, whatever it is in the background on the building says future is now. At first, that didn't ring any bells for me when it came to FF7, but actually thinking about it, Midgar is like super futuristic and high-tech compared to like every other location around the map of Gaia in Final Fantasy VII. So that could maybe be like a little bit of a hint. It could actually be related to FF7 given the sign, but this is also just a more futuristic steampunk-looking setting of a city. It could be from any game that has that kind of a setting. This next image doesn't really show us much at all. It's just like some generic looking alleyway in some city. It could be the slums of Midgar, of course. You see two guys in the foreground running. They're kind of blurry, so you can't really make out who or what they are. Potentially, they could be Shinra soldiers if we're believing this is related to the FF7 remake. It looks like they're running with something in their hands, potentially guns. But the Shinra soldiers, if you actually look at like the trailers we've seen, the only two trailers that we have for FF7 remake, the Shinra soldiers all have like clubs hanging from like the back, like the back right side of their body, and these guys don't have anything hanging from their body, so I don't think they're Shinra soldiers. This image for me kind of kills the potential of this being related to FF7 remake, because the character in the foreground looks nothing like anything I've seen from Final Fantasy VII. It almost looks like he has like a feather in his hat. The shield is very distinct. Like, it has 3 parts coming out from the side and probably from the other side as well. So this should be a dead giveaway for whatever this game is, if anybody out there recognizes that character or that shield. Now, assuming this is related to FF7 Remake, this could easily, again, just be a slums area somewhere in the game. There's 8 sectors, so it could be just one of the slums we've never seen before. This could be a new enemy type in a new slum that we've never got to explore in the original game. There's a really tall building in the background. Can't quite make out what it is, but if this would be the slums in FF7, that's 100% not the Shinra building, because that's on the upper plate. That's not in the slums. This last image, however, screams Final Fantasy VII Remake to me. It looks exactly like the area of Midgard that Cloud's running through in the gameplay trailer we got back in 2015. The buildings to me just look almost exactly alike. You also have the sign for an inn, which is obviously synonymous with the Final Fantasy series. Plenty of RPGs use inns as well, of course, but Final Fantasy uses it almost in every game. And also the mixture of English words and letters with Japanese words and letters kind of screams Final Fantasy VII to me as well. Again, I'm not saying this is 100% an image from Final Fantasy VII Remake, but this, out of all 4 of them, to me, looks the most like it. So yeah, I don't think those 4 images are related to Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I did want to look at it from a perspective of how they could potentially be, and the fact that the person deleted the tweet tells me somebody probably replied to his tweet and told him, you know what, this is the game that these are from. So if you happen to recognize those images, or any of the images at all, be sure to let me know in the comments section, because I'm kind of curious. I don't even know how relevant the guy's tweet was before it was taken down. I don't know how many people saw it. I don't know how relevant this potential leak, if you want to call it that, was, but I did want to discuss it just in case it does relate to FF7 Remake, because I don't recognize the game. Anyways, my dudes, that'll wrap up this FF7 Remake video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, if you guys went on to enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, turn on notifications, follow me on Twitter at TheDashingDavid, at my Discord. The links to my social networks are in the description, and in the outro. Later, guys. Give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while, quit acting